Hi guys, welcome back. This time around I'm bringing you the Queen of Audio QOA Adonis, the new version, let's call it that way. This is a 1 plus 2 hybrid. It follows on the original Adonis, which was also a 1 plus 2, but the biggest change here has been to the approach to the tuning. We know that Kynera, Queen of Audio, Celeste, they all have a particular house sound. It's a house sound that you either appreciate and understand and thus end up liking, or you don't like. And that results in mixed opinions, obviously. There are certain IEMs within this sound style that they have, which have a very high prominence on the mids, while others emphasize the bass somewhat, but at the end of the day they all end up kind of having a very recognizable sound signature. I mean, things like the Oud, their tribrid, an absolutely fantastic. I love it. The Hodur, this from Kynera, again, a fantastic sound. Really, I can really understand and I really connect with that type of sound. On the other hand, things like maybe the original Adonis is not exactly my cup of tea. And I'm not even going to mention, obviously, the Loki, because that is, for me, I can say that that's one of my possible end game IEMs. Anyway, as for the Adonis, this is the packaging, the usual very classy approach that Kynera has. There's a small little mistake here in the actual packaging, which is, they mention here it's a 9.2 millimeter dynamic driver, while then on the actual box cover it mentions 10 millimeters. So a small little mistake there, but nothing dramatic. It is in fact a 9.2. Here's the usual specs. It's a custom Knowles. It's one Knowles BA and then a custom BA plus this 9.2 millimeter dynamic driver, which apparently also has been custom designed for Queen of Audio. The graph, as you can see there, which is basically what I also got, and I'll show it to you in a little bit later. But ultimately, you know, what we're getting from this packaging is a nice, pleasant experience. A nice selection of tips, some alternative terminations here for the cable, as you can see. All right, and then the IM itself. Well, let me just show you quickly. The case, nice, you know, Queen of Audio branding on it, and then the actual IM itself. Nice purple cable, nice purple IEM. I mean, if there's one thing that we have to admit when it comes to Kynera is undoubtedly they, you know, if I was to say that they are the brand that more consistently makes the most beautiful IEMs, I probably wouldn't be over hyping it. You know, it's I honestly don't recall a single item from them, be it from Kynera, Queen of Audio, or from Celeste, that doesn't look good. They always pay a very high attention to the details, and the Adonis is no exception. I mean, this combination of wood and then you know, the resin shell, it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely stunning. I personally don't mind the crazy colors when they are nicely executed. This has got almost like a jewel type of finish to it, you know. Very beautiful IM, very beautiful IM. Fits perfectly, no issues with the fit. I mean, nothing there that I can complain about. The cable is you know, a Kynera cable. It's a nice cable. It does the job. It measured properly as well, so nothing to be pointed negatively. All right, anyway, that's the hardware side of things. All the boxes have been ticked. Due to this break away from the traditional tuning of Kynera, and the breakaway is that the bass here has been extremely emphasized, which is something kind of a new thing for them. Okay, one might think, oh, okay, well, this is going to be something that's not going to be listenable. It's not going to be interesting. It's going to be maybe muddy, this and that. Okay, fine. These are all valid points. Of course, when things are properly designed, which is the case, and when we are properly tuned, we quickly see that that's not the case. And it didn't take me much to after start listening to the Adonis to realize that that this is a properly tuned IEM. Yes, the bass is emphasized. Yes, it's not an audiophile correct IEM if that is what you are looking for. Things like probably the aviation would be a better choice for if you were looking for that style. But the reality is, if you're looking for a colored sound which has been properly tuned, this is the thing, period. And following on that chain of thought, what I have selected here is other 1+2s, which also have this type of tuning, a tuning which is very much emphasized on the bass. Some of them are more emphasized than in the upper mids and treble than the Adonis. Some of them have been around for a long time. And basically always the configuration here is 1+2, except for the tensiometer feet on the left hand side here, which is actually two 8mm dynamic drivers and then the two BAs. So I've got here the tensiometer feet, that's $239. I've got here the Rose Techniques QT7 Pro 2 10mm dynamic driver plus two BAs. One of the nicest fitting IEMs that I've ever owned. I mean, this thing just disappears in my ear canal. Honestly, I can sleep with them. I don't even feel that I have them there, and I'm using a large tip, and still everything just sits flush in my ear. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, seriously, very nice. It's got kind of a oxygen type of vibe to the shell if you look at it, but it fits beautifully. Okay, obviously the Adonis usually initially it was launched at $189 if I'm not mistaken. I have now seen it come down as much as $135. This particular unit I got it from HIFIGO. Next to that, something which when it initially was launched, had a price tag of $200, which is the Whizzer, the HE03AL. Another 1+2. It's been around for a long time, this IEM. It's been around since around, if I'm not mistaken, 2019. Solidly built. I mean, very nice, solid built. It's got some weight to it, and due to the price that it had back then, it was an IEM that I think just didn't gather the momentum that it should have gathered, because it is a very nice sounding IEM and probably one of the nicest sounding IEMs that Whizzer has. Whizzer, again, a brand that has a particular house sound. You either appreciate it or you don't appreciate it, but the reality is the 01, the 01B, the 010, the HE10, the HE03AL. These are all IEMs which should have gotten more attention than what they got. And then finally, another IEM that has fallen very much in the forgotten drawer. It's the BGVP THHIFI red face. Another 1+2. Very nicely built. It looks the part. It really does look the part. And once again, a very nicely executed V-shaped signature, if you want to call it that way. That sounds fantastic. It is a little bit on the bigger side, so it doesn't have the fit, for example, the Whizzer or the Rose Techniques have, but it still fits nicely. I mean, all of them actually, they all actually fit very nicely. Nothing that I can complain about there. But if I have to choose the two IEMs here that have got the best fit, without doubt, it's the QT7 and the Whizzer. And then I would say that the Adonis, the feet, and then finally the THHIFI. Anyway, like I said, all of them follow this philosophy of an emphasized bass, and then with various degrees of emphasis then given to the mids, upper mids, and treble. The IEM out of all of these IEMs here that has got the darkest sound in terms of its upper mids and treble is the feet. And it's on its own, you don't really notice it, but you do pick up on it when you start comparing it with the others, coupled with the fact that the initial pin again is a little bit on the emphasized sound side. it gives you a sound which is an interesting sound. I'm not going to deny it. I liked it since the first time that I reviewed it. I liked it, but it is an IM that once you start comparing with various other options that you have available in different configurations as well, 1+4s and so on and so on, you quickly see that yes, it is a nicely tuned IM, but it doesn't maybe do enough to justify its price tag. Yes, it does carry the Tansio Mirai branding, which means obviously it's properly built, properly designed. It's a solid IM, but those things account for just so much. Ultimately the IM has to fulfill its duties of playing music well. I'm not going to say that it doesn't play well. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying yes, that it does play well, but compared to these four here in particular, it's the one that will come ultimately in last place. It just lacks, compared to these, the sense of space and imaging that all of the others are capable of giving in more quantity. Okay. On top of that, it's also got the price, which is not exactly helping it, but it is what it is. Okay. The QT7, an IEM that, as I said, you can get it. I've seen it down for around $109 at times. It is capable enough. Its biggest problem, I think, is that sometimes the way that the BAs have been tuned give it a certain harshness in the mids and to upper mids transition that although visually in the graph you don't pick up on it, you notice it when you're listening to it. So things like, for example, Up and Up from Jeff Ryan, the sax does come across a little bit too intense. Feels So Good from Diane Reeves, again the same situation. It does. Certain parts of those drum hits are just a little bit overly intense. It's a nice sounding IM overall, yes, and for the price you can forgive those certain aspects. I would say that if you choose perhaps a warmer source like I did with the Yuki and the Kylin, those will do it justice. On the other hand, something like the Feet will maybe benefit more from using, for example, the Rose Techniques Rose LC, the new one with the ESS 9039. This will perhaps be able to give the Feet, and it does give the Feet a little bit more air up top, a little bit more of space in terms of its sound stage and so on. So I would say that careful choice of DAC or dongle, of what you're connecting it up to, will definitely help. I'll talk about the Adonis last. On this end here are my three. Well, these three are my three favorites. Okay, let's just make that perfectly clear. The THHIFI. If I have to criticize it, it's the fact that the upper mid to treble section sometimes gets a little bit too BA-ish. Okay. Besides that, there's really not much that I can criticize, especially when you consider that if you can pick this up at around $110, $115 like I've seen, then this is a solid deal. Definitely, it is a solid deal. It ticks all the right boxes. It's well built. It's got decent accessories. It plays the part. Honestly, it does. It's fun. It's engaging. Very versatile. Great with EDM music, and even stuff like I was mentioning just a few minutes ago, Diane Reeves, or Fly With Me. It still does the job perfectly. There's nothing. It doesn't lack in any way, or doesn't take away anything from those genres of music. So jazz, it comes across perfectly. I would say maybe classical music is where it will perhaps suffer a little bit. So jazz might be the one genre that it's not 100%. Jazz. Classical music might be the one genre that it's not 100% in its element, but if it's EDM, pop, even rock, this is the part. It really is a solid IEM. The Whizzer, very much what I basically said about the THHIFI, I apply here to the Whizzer as well. It's just that slight BA sensation or metallicness or that you get on occasion with certain musics, like Up and Up is one of the songs where you can pick it up a little bit, and even stuff like Home from Dominic Phil Aim, you can pick up on that as well, but with the voice, that sometimes spoil the playback. Otherwise, very little can be said. Obviously at its original price, But at $100, which is what you can pick it up for, it's again a no-brainer. I'll be honest with you. For $100, which is this is what you can pick it up for now directly from Whizzer. This is truly a no-brainer. It's a solid IM, well built. It sounds fantastic. You know, really very little I can criticize. Good soundstage, good imaging, good technicalities. It's a nice IM. I mean, like I said, this and the THHIFI are two very solid IMs, especially considering the price that you can now get them for, since they've been around for a while. And now finally here the Adonis. Bass, phenomenal. That's all I'm going to say. It rumbles. There's sub bass in spades, but it's a controlled sub bass, which I think is testament straight away to the quality of the driver that's been used here. It's the IM out of all of them that has the most sub bass, and I would say in terms of the overall bass quality, it's also the best one. Very close, these three, very close, not a lot of difference there, but in terms of ultimate sub bass rumble, this one is the best. That sub bass rumble obviously does come at the price of it losing a little bit of bass impact, so that mid bass slam sometimes is not as present, but you know, it's that balance, more sub bass, more mid bass. It's that balance that is struck, but overall perfect. The transition then into the mids, upper mids and treble is where I think this surprises, because you definitely see, and when you see the graphs when I show you, you'll definitely see that there's an advantage of the bass section over the rest of the frequency range, and you would think, okay, now this is going to be maybe overly dark and muddy. No, it is being very well done. The BAs have been tuned in a manner that you don't have that BA timbre or tonality being sometimes a little bit extra prominent like you do in these three, you know, and even in the case of the feet, but mainly these three here are the ones that have a little bit of that tonality done extra, which kind of spoils and takes away a little bit, while here, no, it's been perfectly done. No harshness, no nothing. It's just got this very nice timbre and tonality. It's the one I think, even though there is a flaw, it's the one that I think that coherence of the matching of the drivers has been done the best. Upper mids and treble, again, in less quantity, yes, than in these three, noticeable, but the balance that is being struck overall confers a more coherent, more balanced, more overall tonally correct to my ears, and a musical presentation. So in terms of its musicality, it's the best IM out of all of them, without question. It's the most musical, the most organic sounding IM out of the ones that I've selected here. It just has this very easy to listen to, agreeable type of sound. It's as agreeable to listen to as something like, for example, the KE4 from QE Ears. It's just very easy to listen to. Okay, the KE4, yes, does have advantages, and I didn't compare it tremendously. Yes, does have certain advantages. It's even more mellow, even more relaxed. But you know, the bass that this thing has, yeah, it's intoxicating at times, because you just don't expect it to be as good as it is, and as clean and as dynamic as it is. And then it's been so carefully matched with the way that the BAs come into play, that you see that whoever tuned this IM just didn't throw parts together. He took his time in designing it and making sure that the overall balance came out proper, which is again a testament of Chimera's products. Even those products like the Loki, which are very intense in the upper frequencies, when you actually listen to it with the right source, you know, although it's quite forgiving, but when you listen to it with the right source, with the right thing, you know, with the right, let's say, backup, you listen to it and you say to yourself, oh my god, this sounds really good, because you can push the volume and it doesn't, things don't go out of balance, things don't, and that's the same thing that I get here from the Adonis too. You push the volume and everything just scales very nicely. Nothing jumps out, nothing starts overpowering one part of the frequency range over the other, so the bass doesn't want to start overpowering the mid-range, or no, it just scales continuously. So you can actually put this pretty loud, trust me, and it still is a pleasant reproduction. It just plays very nicely. Genres, anything, you throw it at anything that you want. The only genre that I would then say maybe would benefit from a little bit more higher energy would be, for example, stuff like female vocal centric stuff, or maybe a little bit of classical music. If there was just a little bit extra energy in the upper mids and treble, maybe this could be more in its element. Where then, with all of this positive aspects of things on the one hand, where then this kind of is losing out is in its technical capabilities. It's not major, but the soundstage is decent, the imaging is decent, the detailed retrieval is decent. Is it adequate for its price when it's on the normal price? I would say just barely. If you get it at a discounted price, like I said, I've seen it for $135, then it's perfect. Then I really cannot complain. But again, you know, this is an IEM for someone, or for those that are wanting a nice bass emphasized IEM that nevertheless maintains an excellent coherence between the whole frequency range and is easy to listen to, that you can, you know, give it some stick and it doesn't complain. Yuki matched perfectly, the Kylin RU7 matched perfectly, the H2 for channeling, perfect. Even the Rose LC matched perfectly, even though it's got a brighter, and maybe, who knows, maybe some would prefer this, matched that to give it just a little bit extra more openness, could be, but I preferred the warmer tonality that these three provided over the tonality that I get here from the Rose LC, and I like the Rose LC. If I didn't like it, it wouldn't be here, trust me, it really wouldn't. The Fire Q15, I also listened to it, again, a very nice match. So I think it's an IEM that, obviously depending on your on your tastes and your preferences, it's an IEM that is pretty forgiving with whatever source you use. Ultimately, I just prefer the warmer sounding sources. It just, I don't know, it just makes the premise of this organic musical type of sound that it is capable of doing just more pleasant, and that's why I prefer it over maybe something a little bit more brighter, like the AirQ style, the M15, or other ESS based dongles or DACs or amps or whatever you wanna call it. And that's it, guys. I mean, like I said, all of these IEMs are solid enough. You know, ultimately the choice here will be: do you want something? Actually, in this case, because the sound is almost very similar in all of them in terms of, you know, I would say that the main choice selector here will be the price. The price will be the one that will be deciding things. If you can pick this up for, like I said, $135, $140, I would definitely say yes, go for it, without a doubt. If you cannot, if it's going to be more expensive, then it's a question of looking at the others, where, due to its price, I would say the feet gets excluded. I would still say that these two, even out of these three, I would still say that the THHIFI and the Whizzer are still the most sensible in terms of price point. I mean, $100, you can't argue against that. And this, if you can get it for $115, which I've seen it quite often at that price, again, you can't really argue. But if you are able to get this for $135, I still think it's the one that makes the most sense out of all of them. Obviously, if you don't have any of them, if you do already own, I mean, don't go sell it and go buy this one. Come on, let's be realistic now, you know. But if you don't have any of these IEMs and you want this kind of more V-type shaped sound, this is the one that makes the most sense. It ticks the most right boxes, at least for me. It's musical, organic. It's got that old school type of tonality, timbre, and is phenomenal. Clean, big bass, like really, if I make an analogy here with cars, big cubic inches here, really big cubic inches. Which is surprising because you just don't expect it from a 9.2mm driver, I would say. It's almost got, I know this is going to be, but everybody, when they talked about the Pilgrim, they said, oh, the Pilgrim, you know, the mids and upper mids and stuff. One of the things that I was most surprised about the Pilgrim was its bass. Maybe because of the fact that I'm actually able to fit it in nice and deep into my ears. But I was very impressed with the bass of the Pilgrim. Not only in terms of its overall quantity, but the quality, you know, phenomenal. And I would say that that is up there with that quality of bass. More emphasized, yes, it's got more sub bass, definitely, but it's got that sort of quality of bass. And that also uses a 9.2mm driver. So in terms of, you know, its bass and the way that then the drivers are all matched, you know, the DD with the BAs, top marks. I mean, I cannot say anything else more. Chimera, Queen of Audio, they've done their homework once again, and they've delivered. It's as simple as that. All right, guys, I'll wrap this up now. As you all know, as you know, like and subscribe, please, and I'll show you the graphs in a part 2. Okay, you take care now. Bye bye.